Hello, my dear ones. We're alive. Yeah, kind of hit us directly right here. Irma, hurricane. I haven't had power. I finally got power yesterday. I've had down 8 days. Ugh, it was horrible. In the heat. And then when you get a generator, if you can find one, the loudness of it, it's the aftermath that's a killer more than the beginning of it. That's about the 4th hurricane I've set through. Charlie being by far the worst. This one, basically 100, 120 mile an hour winds constantly for day and night, right beside the eye. And there were gusts of 175, 200. When I saw 200 mile an hour wind, it was unbelievable what it did to the tree tops. I was in shock. If that hit a house, it would have just literally tore it apart. It was amazing. So it's amazing. So forgive us for being a little late with things. Whew. That wasn't fun. And we had some people getting mad at us. It's like getting mad at us. We got directly hit by a hurricane, man. We had no communications here. We did the best we could. But when blowing smoke up your you-know-what was much more than just a saying. Someone gave me this to look at. They used to blow smoke up people's rectum for healing, 18th century. It's funny. In the 18th century, that's the 1700s, they were trying everything. I mean, you can get into some of the scariest looking medical stuff, or what they called medical stuff. I mean, when you get into the 1800s, 17, 1800s, they were doing some really bizarre stuff, calling it healthy, But this was in England more than anywhere else, and let's see what all it said. 1745, it was tobacco they were using. There's a stimulant, of course. The hot embers of the tobacco leaf, jotting the white back into, oh wow. Now that's wild. The hot embers of the tobacco leaf jolting this lady back into consciousness, and suddenly the practice grew. And suddenly it was blowing smoke up everybody's. And then the government, what did it say? Administered with a standard smoking pipe. It was Shannon that gave me this, that's for sure. This proved to be an impractical solution, no kidding. But, the same thing is stool implantation, and they got all kinds of things. And, you don't have to be bizarre. You have to be truthful and real. You just eat the food your body is designed to eat. Understand the difference between acid-forming foods, or properly spoken acid-ash-forming foods, and base or alkaline-forming or acid-forming or ash-forming foods. This is for YouTube. All right. Yeah, let's read this, because this was someone that, Rosalind. And I love the fact you're listening, because that tells me that you're serious-minded about this. And when you're serious-minded about this and you get it, well, you can help literally anybody do anything. I mean, you're going to have your advanced cases out there. There's no question about that. And we're seeing so many of them here. I would say most we can help. Certain percentage, they're just too advanced. When you lose your lymph nodes, one way or another, either through surgery or hardening or atrophy or whatever, you're in trouble. And there's no magic out there except keep pulling, on the other side of them, tumors and things, until maybe you can get a lymph node to regrow. They regrow, at least I would assume that. So this was talking about my video number 429. It said Dr. Morse addressing a man with testicular cancer and advised him to get lymph node 5. My concern is that yesterday I was listening to another one of his recent videos where someone whose kidneys weren't filtering had very severe inflammation and swellings and had been on lymph node 5. Dr. Morse had told this person that because their kidneys weren't filtering, they shouldn't be on such a strong lymph detox herbs, and that was why they were so swollen. He said to stay with the 2 kidney herbs till they were filtering. The man with testicular cancer isn't filtering either, and I didn't know if Dr. Morse remembered reading that part of his letter when he made that recommendation, so would you please pass this along to him? I really look at this case by case, Rosalind. I really don't look at this as a blanket. In other words, no one use lymph node 5 until you're filtering. I don't use that. I'm an intuitive being. I live by what I see and I don't know how to explain it, but I don't plan my talks. I don't plan my classes. I mean, I've set the classes up over all these years, and we got the outline, but I don't follow it. I follow as best I can when we're taping them. Now we're taping most of them, but I'm an intuitive speaker. If you're an intuitive speaker, I'll allow the universe to tell me what you want me to tell you, not what I want to tell you, what you want me to tell you. And that's an intuitive speaker. Takes a bit to get that way, but you have to learn how to just let it flow from the universe and not get in the way. Don't put the mind involved. As soon as your mind comes involved, then you start falling over yourself, trying to remember what you want to say and all the things that are involved like that. And it's like, that's a tough way to go, especially if you don't read your talk. And the worst speaker you could go to is someone that reads their talk or has a podium in between you and them. I don't believe in podiums. As a speaker, I like to interact with my group. These are our family. But I need you guys to tell me what you want to know. So I do my best with that. And it's just how you work on yourself spiritually, of continuing to put the mind outside of yourself and at the same time be the self. You know what I mean? Be awake. But use the mind, use the emotions, desire, all that comes to play. Every chance you can remember to be awake, be awake. But a lot of cases I go by case, like I said, and if someone has been on a lymph node 5 and they're having problems, then I'm going to take them off of it. When you have testicular cancer, initially when you start on these protocols, or you got a client, Rosalind, you're starting on a new protocol, we have learned to only use one lymphatic formula for about a month to a month and a half. Generally it's a month and a half for the first 2 weeks and then the next 4. So about a month and a half or so, we generally stay with only one lymphatic formula. But by then we're hoping, to get the kidneys filtering and all of that. After that, though, we're going to go, kidney filtering or not. And if you do get a blowback from that, then we're going to slow down. And what you could do then is reduce the capsule lymphatic formula, and then the lymph node formula, you could reduce that to maybe a half a dropper full, and maybe 1 or 2. When it comes to lymph node 5, you could only give 1 twice a day even. 1 twice a day. And still have them on maybe a lymph node formula, and maybe, then the kidneys and everything else. What you want to always remember is always have the kidney formulas, always. You never want to do lymphatic without kidneys. But it's true, if we have too much hitting too hard lymphatically, and those kidneys aren't filtering, their tumors couldn't expand, they can feel worse and everything else. I agree 100%. So you kind of have to feel yourself way through those things. At the same time, I'm going to go after anybody listed with the word cancer on it, because that means that their tissues have been sitting in acids for quite a while, probably from birth, and that time is like yesterday. And that one of the reasons is people are so afraid under the word cancer that they start doing things that ends their life, and stupid things, and out of the word fear of death, fear of not knowing what is on the other side. And that's why I try to help you guys on that side too, to understand there's no fear, because there's nowhere you're going. Because you drop a body, you ain't going nowhere. You can't get rid of yourself ever. Hate to tell you. You can't. There's nowhere you're going. You're part of the all. So there's just no way you can get rid of your consciousness. You can get rid of your bodies. but you can't get rid of your consciousness. Try hiding somewhere where you're not. A little difficult and hard to do, but Rosalind, appreciate that. I appreciate this question too, believe it or not, because that tells me, because I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, and that tells me you're listening. And that is what it's all about, because the best healers out there are listeners. They listen. They're not in the way. Their mind is not in the way. And in our classes, that's what we teach you. We teach you a true healer is one that steps out of the way and allows the divine to work through them in all ways, because you can see their problems more. And remember, a lot of problems are not just physical. A lot of people's problems are emotional and mental. And it's hard to see those if you're just fixated on the physical side of life. So that's why when a good healer learns to pull back and can see where the obstruction is emotionally and mentally and can maybe work them through that. You know, so it just makes for better. I think I read this to you. This is from, Marcy. This is plastic surgery now, or up with this give back. But they're learning in lymphedema cases to transplant lymph nodes. I read this to you on the last one, I'm pretty sure. But it's like, wow. I mean, they will finally learn what you guys already know. Oh. You know, this is a lot going on with this too. Here's how you and your DNA are being targeted. I haven't read this yet, but there is some bizarre stuff going on out there, playing with the DNA, messing with the DNA and stuff like this. And it's like, you know what? Our world right now is scary in the human consciousness. But when we look at these little fellas like this, sitting in the field meditating, doesn't that kind of make it all right?
Yeah, baby.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Let's see if this is something else I can read to you. Oh, it's A Course in Miracles, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And that's Marty Paul that gave me that. I read that a lot of years ago, Marty. And you know what? Anything that can increase your joy and expansion of awareness, who cares? One of the problems is people want to own their religions, own their philosophies, own everything. You don't own nothing. You use these stepping stones or tools set up by the divine to wake up or to go to sleep more, either way, but hopefully to wake up a little more, so you have all these little tools that are set all around, and it wakens itself up, because let me tell you, when you get into these worlds, you can get pretty lost. You can get pretty lost, and it has to waken itself up. This is Nicholas. Now this was to Megan. You got your eye photo since you was 4 years old. I want to see your 4-year-old eye photos compared to your 20 years old now. Well, that'd be cool. That would really be cool. I'll give this to Megan. And now, did we go over this biomat? I tell you, I've been in another world here for a while. You know, it's on the premise of far infrared, right? All right. So it's talking about circulation. I don't know if you can see this graph or not up here, but you see where far infrared is up there in the red heat. What side of chemistry is heat on? Acid. So there's a certain point where mild heat, because this whole idea of stimulating circulation with heat, you know, it increases blood flow. That's only true up to a point. Because when you look at the effects of heat versus cold, cold actually, believe it or not, has an alkaline effect, which is an anionic effect. Like it or not, in a long run of acidosis, it's dehydration and accumulation. So anything that produces heat, and there's times for heat and everything feeling good, but people are so acidic, and when you're introducing more acid promoting type of energy, I don't know about that. I'm real cautious, because the worst thing you want to do is exacerbate your problem. They do that in the medical community. That's what they do. They exacerbate the problem as they suppress your symptom. So you don't realize you're getting worse. And it just keeps getting worse and worse, because there's no curative thought in diseases. Most of them, all of them, are uncurable. There's nothing medical doctors cure, guys. So if you want to live in a world like that, have at it. But I don't live in that world. But I don't know what to say about that. I love crystals, and I love all the magnetics and stuff like that, of course. But also understand all of this is relative to chemistry. And what's relative to chemistry in your world is your food you're eating. Your very food, anything that you're eating or consuming or interfacing with chemically, is your effect. It is what you are experiencing. You can reduce it down to that. Because if you reduce all the ideas and theories and philosophies and the bull crap out there down to chemistry, which is, this world is nothing but chemistry, there's your answer. But not in applied theories, in actualities, in chemistry. You only have two sides to chemistry, and they're polar opposites. Just like there's two of everything, male, female. Each side sometimes doesn't understand the other side, but you have real positive and real negative, and all those little degrees in between, like pH. pH real acidic, and then the pH real alkaline, and all the different degrees in between. The most gnarly side of that scale is always the negative side, or the acid side of the pH. Interesting that you see this scale in terms of blood being more base dominant, and I've always said it, I feel that spiritually too. The middle path, slightly to the right. In other words, the middle path, slightly to the alkaline side, would be my thought on that Buddha. The compassionate one. The Buddha man. But this far infrared, I don't know what to say about it. I'm just cautious. For those of you that have very little lymphatic problems and pretty healthy, who cares? But when you get into the very, very seriously, chronically acidified up, anything you add to that is like chemotherapy. You want to back away from these extreme chronic states of acidosis. Rarely cheating. Get backed up until you get some semblance of balance and some homeostasis of alkalinity or hydration. Then play a little bit. But I don't even know where I'm at. I have to tell you guys, I've been out of the mix. Let me see here. Hello. Hi, honey. Yeah, but that's okay. You don't need to turn it off or talk to it. I did a red button. I think you're going to see a lot of that, because these souls are coming in here to a planet that's a hellhole, and they're more awake, and their bodies are ravished with genetic weaknesses, heavy limb, skin, and so they don't want to live, and the adrenals are way down, their nervous systems are way down, so there's a lot of kids out there like that, and it's a sad thing. But everybody's got to find their happiness and their point of joy and find that within themselves, because no one else can do it for you. And it's kind of hard when you're born into families that, and
bring you down.
Yeah, brings you down, and I know, but you still Everyone is responsible for grabbing into themselves that little life that they might have left and take that and awaken with it. And realize that everything is external to themselves. You can't get mad at things external, change them. Go talk to them.
Okay. Thank you.
There's a lot of unhappy people in the world. A lot of young people want to commit suicide and stuff like that. But it's a tough world right now. And you can see that if the negative forces were any stronger, you can imagine what that'd be like. And so for the experience and the entrapment of that is pretty strong on the divine. That's why I'm saying that it's always good to have a little to the right of balance, of ground zero. A little more alcohol, a little more love, a little more positivity, so to speak, in that respect. But we're each responsible for our own survivals. No one is going to come. I mean, you got so many great. Our power got turned on by Ohio, not by Florida Power and Light. Florida Power and Light was horrible. We got turned on by Ohio, Buckeyes. But we each are responsible for surviving the duality of life. And a lot of you younger guys and gals come already more awake than the youth of what you're seeing and the youth of old. Everything keeps expanding and awakening. And it's difficult when you come into this world what you see, because you come to a warring planet with an elevated awareness, and it's difficult to deal with that level of negativity, that level of consciousness, when you've developed yourself. So you're here for one of two reasons: to finish up what you didn't finish up, to end your karma, so to speak, to end what you owe, so to speak, or to help and awaken others as you awaken yourself even more, because this gives you a grand opportunity to awaken even deeper into consciousness. You know, when you're into some of the higher worlds, it's hard to awaken deeper. When you're stuck in this world and your consciousness is being drawn to this level, it's easier to awaken higher, in my opinion, because the need to be free and the need to feel that the awareness is a driving force, as opposed to when you already feel your sucre, you don't want to change. Kind of like if everything's always good, you don't learn from that. You don't. It just, I don't know how to explain that. You need the positive and negative to mature, to grow, to expand, to all of those things that you might assume. The problem with consciousness, everything's already in it. So it's not, it's only learning about itself, perhaps. So there's a lot of unhappiness. And when the endocrine glands are down, and particularly the parathyroid is down, depression, your adrenals are down, anxieties. So this world hasn't got a lot to offer in happiness. There's a lot of visitors. There are some that are not so welcome, and it's just hard to talk about these things because some people are afraid to open up past their small little experience in this world. But let me tell you guys are these gigantic beings that are very familiar with many, many worlds. There's a lot to you, and there's a lot going on. So if you want the ultimate rights, but I want to say this too, you guys, as you grow spiritually and you awaken, you're going to see a world that's not real happy, a world that is corrupt, a world that is unbelievable. Power, control, backbiting, gossiping, hate. But remember who you are. And that if you don't want to see that, then don't give that out. If you want to see love and joy and happiness, give that out. And that's what you'll get back. You know, it's someone was telling me about that, and I didn't see it on the news, about this, some guy that came down working in the hurricanes. I don't know if he's in Texas or somewhere, and he'd been working 14 hours straight. And he finally got a break to sit down and eat a sandwich, and some lady said something to him about, you should be out working on my power, something, and dumped her Coke on his head or something. You know, that's the sort of level that soul will now have to go through the same thing. That soul that played that lady that did that, now she's going to turn around and have similar experiences. You think you get away with some of these things, and no, you don't either. That's the problem. That's why I say that if you want to create things in this level, expect to experience them, because you can't create and then walk away from it. It won't allow you to do it. It can't do it. It's already in the creation mode. So whatever you put out there, so be careful what you think, because at one level that's creating. It just takes a while to get it down to this level, but it first starts with thoughts. So you young guys and gals, hold in there. I'm giving you the remedy to get your bodies healthy and giving you the remedy to wake up. So those two things should help you to then become the light bearers, the givers to the planet. You know, and in doing that, you'll find your final goodbye, and then you'll be able to leave here in a grand fashion. Okay. This is Carmela. Approximately 3 years ago, my body began expressing chronic fatigue. Excuse me. Let me tell you, I've been sucking down the grapes and the fruit. Woo! Pulling it out, baby. But I also went and just ate Indian food. I had to. 8 days with no electricity or nothing. I had to have it. It was emotional. Damn. I hate hurricanes. It's not just the day of the hurricane, the day and night. We saw winds 3 and 4 days past the hurricane. 400-mile wide hurricane. That's wider than Florida by far. So it took a while for it to all pass through. A biopsy revealed that the 2-centimeter tumor in my breast was infiltrating the ductal carcinoma, of course. My physician attributed my extreme fatigue to the cancer. Okay, so let's stop just for a minute and think about that. What gland is the most attributable to chronic fatigue? Adrenals, right? Okay, adrenal glands, where are they? They sit on one on top of each kidney, right? Right. Now, what's one of their jobs? And I'll put it this way. The inner portion of a gland is called the medulla. What does the medulla of the adrenal glands produce? The medulla oblongata, the medulla. What part of the adrenals, the medulla, the inner part, what does that produce? Neurotransmitters, epinephrine, norepinephrine, dopamines, acetylcholine. These turn on and off the autonomic nervous systems. And so, what else do they turn on and off? The kidneys. They sit right on top of them. You turn off the kidneys, what else gets turned off? Your lymphatic system. Oops, and we have now a tumor. So the warning was fatigue. That was your first warning that, man, I felt tired. No one relates that, though, to the kidneys and the lymphatic system, of course. We are, aren't we? Because we guys know. But I felt that this was only part of the reason for the fatigue, which was having a significant impact on my life. Well, you want to look at, if you were tracing this out and said, well, I want to see what the cause of this is, well, you go right at the adrenal glands, all right? So what makes your adrenal glands weaker or stronger? diet, energy, chemistry. These are we only deal with two aspects of life on this planet as well as have known, and that is physics and chemistry. Energy and chemistry. And that's the shell of it. And chemistry is a victim of energy. Everything breaks down into electromagnetic energy, which breaks down into consciousness, awareness. It's that sort of thing. The whirlwind of doctor's appointments that followed had multiple physicians stressing the cut, burn, poison methods as treatment. Yeah, don't they? They get right on that, baby. And that's why I found it interesting, because I think in the Bush people, they were stringing us along. They weren't real truthful, because it went for about 3 or 4 weeks, and they said, well, they're waiting for a treatment plan. Bull crap. I will tell you that afternoon you'll have an oncologist in there with a treatment plan. This is what we're going to do. Since you're young, you can handle it. We're going to give you the strongest chemo there's out there. So basically what I'm telling you, young people, I'm going to give you the hottest acid we can get almost, and we're going to burn that out of you. Oh, even though that's the reason you have it, it's because you're already burning, but we're going to burn you some more. Okay, I did not take them up on these offers, smart lady. My intuition guided me to look for alternative possibilities. During this time I discovered Dr. Morse. Oh, I have an amazing team of angels helping me, and I am grateful. Sounds it. Well, we're here to help, hon. It was clear that I needed to change many of my life patterns, from my personal beliefs to the foods I eat. Well, you know what? In changing that, my dear one, you will eliminate the obstructions to the flow of energy, both from consciousness, mind, emotions, and physical energies. And that's the thing. When you get into that neutral position of, I don't care anymore, basically you now have opened your doors and allowed these obstructions of emotions and thoughts to then end. And that brings more energy and healing power into the body. Every thought is an obstruction. Every emotional desire is an obstruction to a certain extent. When you're sick and full of acid and everything, you want to take a rest. Don't desire, don't want nothing, just hang. Hang and bathe in the nectar of God, or whoever you want to bathe in. Bathe in the nectar of the golden light. To opening my heart to give, that's a big one too. Females, not as much as men do. A lot of males need to open their hearts up. Holy moly, especially males, and that's difficult to talk to a male about that. But females as well, we're getting really cold with each other, and it's each other we should be having fun with instead of being cold with each other. But it's just the lack of respect that man has for his own self and his own being. And that's because they're sick. They're full of acids. Their endocrines are down. They're depressed, full of anxieties. All right. Although I'm following the natural healing plan, I do acknowledge that the value of integrative medicine. I had another ultrasound in 2017 to evaluate the breast tumor, which showed the largest diameter to be 2.2 centimeter. And so it grew 0.2. That's not bad. I will continue with my natural healing plan and open to a greater depth of love. If this has only grew that little small amount, while you're working on getting your kidneys filtering and everything, that's pretty good. In other words, you pretty much got it kind of slowed down to nothing. Now you get those kidneys filtering and you dig into a great fast or a long-term fast, and you'll start backing it down the other way. There's just an X amount of time that you're putting the brakes on everything. Things are going to keep getting worse just a little while longer until you get the brakes put on things. You get the kidneys going and everything going. You can understand that. A little bit of hydration, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It just takes a little time to get that going. Recently, I began having painful headaches and blurred vision along with the ongoing chronic fatigue. An MRI revealed that there is a 1.4 centimeter meningioma tumor adjacent to the optic chism of the brain. Well, this is what I'm saying. when someone says they have a tumor, you know immediately that it's a lymph system, right? And then second, you know immediately that at least one side of their body's down. So they could have be nothing to have another tumor in the brain, be nothing to have a tumor in the liver also start, be nothing to have multiple tumors on one side. Don't let that stop you, because it can't stop you. Because if you treat them, then you fall into that, well, it just ended my life here or made it really, really bad. Can't do that. You know, it's like this Bush people again. She was given 3% chance to live. And you're taking their treatments. But it's enough to say that you want to really start living on fruit. Live on a fruit diet for a while. You know, really get your kidneys to filter dry fast 24-36 and get these kidneys opened up and get this opened up and get these moving out of there. That's all I can say. You could attempt to pull these out if you wanted to, but they'll just grow back. Pulling is okay if you can't get your kidneys filtering in time and it's a big tumor, not too big, and you know, you can use that. But if you've got a little time, get those kidneys filtering and get your body opened up. And I would also recommend, because we're digging in the brain area, I would get my bowels, really go after my GI tract. I will be seeing a physician who specializes in brain tumors. I mean, honey, what are you going to do? Have them cut them out? I mean, you can have them cut out, but again, it's just going to grow back. You got to realize what's down and fix what's down. It sounds like you do a lot of doctor hopping. And I want to heal naturally and appropriate all the wisdom that I... Well, my wisdom would be sit down and relax, quit hopping around. Get yourself in a relaxed state where your dopamines can come in and your epinephrines can take a seat backwards, and you can get your kidneys filtering and everything's on. When you're under stress, you can't get your kidneys filtering. When you're with fear, you can't get things filtering. You have to relax, because it's just a body, and it's just a system that's down. And if you're damaging some cells, okay, and you got tumors growing, okay, reverse it. Reverse it. The worst one being the brain, of course. You don't want to start getting into seizures and things like this. So you really have everything. I would do grapes and lemons for at least the next 20 days and then see where you are on that. And see if those tumors are backing down. But make sure your kidneys are filtering. If they're not, do dry fasting to help that. You're in a race. Take a look at your eyes. Where are you? Chronic? Subacute? Where are you? Now remember, acute, subacute, chronic. Acute turns a blue eye what color? White. How about subacute? Turns a blue eye yellow. What about chronic levels of lymph stagnation? What color does it turn a blue eye? Brown. How about brown eyes? Light brown eyes just get darker brown. Dr. Morse, first of all, I feel so blessed to have crossed your path. Well, same here, man. Same here. My name is Jessica. Sweet. Thank you. I'm 39 years young. 39. You're almost the big 4-0. Coming up, honey. 4-0. Still be in your 30s, though. I was a vegetarian for about 4 years. That's pretty good. And more recently, I have become full vegan. That is really better. My problem is, after my last third child was born in July of 2014, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. Well, if you were diagnosed with hypothyroidism, that does bring up some, is the parathyroids involved too? Because again, that would yield you a postpartum depression a little bit, calcium-related problems in the children, growing pains, all kinds of little things. They put me on Armour thyroid. Well, at least they gave you Armour. You know, Dr. Jensen thought Armour, being a natural hormone of thyroxine, that it wouldn't affect the thyroid. Oh, yeah, right. Their thyroids, him and Marie's thyroids were shot when I met him. Then I start to get a knot in. Then I start to get a knot in my neck. Uh-oh. I go to the doctor. They say it's nothing. Send me home. Uh-oh. About a year later, it's still there. I go to another doctor, and she finally orders an ultrasound. Ultrasound results show verbatim: 1. Nonspecific small cluster of atypical cervical lymph nodes lateral to the left thyroid, corresponds to the palpable abnormality. While these may be reactive, features are not definitively benign, such that appropriate clinical correlation recommended with follow-up, warranted to exclude malignancy. Additional findings: background thyroid, I don't know how to pronounce that. Echo texture is mildly heterogeneous. A few benign sub-centimeter anacrotic vascular complex cysts, which associated comet tail artifact are seen, which measures less than 5 millimeters. No solid thyroid nodule is seen. Well, that's pretty good. But interesting. Look at that. A small cluster of atypical cervical lymph nodes, lateral to the left thyroid. Well, it sounds like to me that your lymph system's backed up, don't it? And it's also then backing up your thyroid, don't it? That's what it sounds like to me. You don't even have enough of that to show you a nodule, but you can still feel the swelling. I see that a lot, though. And you can also see it in the esophagus, too. Get a swollen esophagus, you can feel it, and they can't see it. And it's like, what? You can see it, right? No? I can feel it. I almost can't breathe. No, I don't see it. Been there, done that one. Corresponding to patient's region of palpable concern in the lateral left neck, lateral to the thyroid, a cluster of hypoectopic cervical lymph nodes is seen, largest measuring 1.4 by 0.6 centimeter long and short axis was slightly thickened. You know, all this is saying is that your lymph system, sweetheart's backed up, your lymph nodes are swollen back there. You also getting some cysts. That's all lymph stuff. Cysts is just lymph fluid, acid lymph fluid. So you're not draining, honey. That's all it's saying to you. So they want to biopsy it. Really? Let me take a piece of it. I just want to. Really? You don't know what's in a lymph node? Does it matter if well, you see, it really, if you know what's going on, you don't need a biopsy. It doesn't matter if there's a cancer cells in the lymph nodes. There shouldn't be. If there is, it just means the macrophages haven't done their job yet. Maybe they're not hungry enough, or maybe they're too hungry, and they've been eating too long. But it sounds like what you've got is serious stagnation of the lymph in the neck area there, and you want to be careful. You're getting cysts from that. I mean, you're not quite getting nodules from that, but a lot of people walk around with thyroid nodules all the time. The 1.4 millimeters, very, 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 very small. But you don't, this is just a little,
well, yes.
I need to get myself moving and get on a good program and get my lymph draining so this is gone. Because I don't want to go boing here with a goiter either. So, really recommend you, because this looks like a goiter coming too, so I would really recommend you hit it hard. Go after the kidneys, the adrenals, clean up the GI tract. Remember, the GI tract, clean that up. Okay, so my question to you is, what would you recommend that I do? Seriously, a grape and lemon fast for 20 days? That's your food. Now, the other side of this, I would get on our detox programs, get into the kidneys, the lymphatic systems, look up the protocols, or have us write you a protocol for that. But pretty much through all these videos, you guys are getting it. The adrenals, the kidneys, the lymphatic system, the GI tract, the endocrine glands. That's your basic, I'm going to get in and get some jobs done. Liver gallbladder for a little while, that'll help pick up all the other stuff, and you're getting it. But kidney filtration, key. I am scared to death. Don't be scared, sweetheart. Jessica, don't be scared, honey. Don't let them freak you out, and don't be scared. These are and you're in a good place. You're a very fixable position here, honey. Do not freak out. Freak out sometimes leads you to do things that are definitely not in your best interest. there is no need for any surgeon to go biopsy anything, because it does not matter whether a tumor, and I talked about this on the cancer video, whether a tumor is a externally placed tumor or interstitially. It doesn't matter, because it's still telling you what's going on. It's still telling you if you don't fix your lymph system, it doesn't matter. In time, you're going down, or those tissues are going down, that part of the body's going down, and if it's in the vital areas of life, could take the body down. So it doesn't. You don't have to stress the patient. You don't have to then open up a door of acids and everything, creating a nightmare from hell. You don't have to put metal clips in people. You don't have to play those hideous games of the negative side. And it's easy. You know, a lymph node swollen. What immediately does that tell you? Immediately, you don't have to go to school for 20 years and think you know everything and you don't know anything. What immediately when a lymph node is swollen? What system is down? The lymph system, because the lymph node is part of the lymph system. It's just that they don't understand the kidneys like you guys do. Or the skin. Or fevers, the valuable role of fevers. Every time you go to a medical doctor, let's stop that fever of yours. You just want to stop my fever? Doesn't everybody get a fever when they're detoxing or when the body's trying to get itself well? And could it be the skin is the largest third kidney of the human body and eliminates gases and acids, and if I don't sweat and I don't have fevers, I hold all that in? You want me to do that? Mr. Doctor with Mr. Degrees on the wall? So, honey, don't be afraid. You're in good position here. But I would go on a grape and lemon diet for at least 20 days if you can. I've got plenty of young ladies that go 40 days. So you could do this. And it'll knock this right out, clean it right out. Don't freak out. No, this is your kidney. Take a look at your eyes, sweetheart. See what were you by. Remember, you're not your body. Number one, you were given this body to manage and to work with while you're on your journey. So take a look at it. See what you got to fix. My question to you is that what would you... Okay, I am scared to death. I have 3 children. 2 of them are only 3 and 4. Oh, sweet, honey. You don't have to worry about nothing, honey. A piece of cake. You hook up with Marcy or tell her someone to help you here. Just get your foot on the path. You can do that. But piece of cake, sweetheart. Think about how scared you are. And I've showed you some tumors and some people that... Imagine how scared they are, honey. You don't really have a lot to be scared. They can make you feel scared, but don't be scared. Your case is an easy case. Sorry. But we've got some serious freaking cases where the hope is almost gone. So you're okay, honey. You're okay. And you'll be alive and well for your children. And this is a good time to fix it. It's a good time, too, because you're a mama. And you want these children to be strong. You don't want them to have the genetics that you do in your lymphatic system. And so you want to learn everything you can so you can get them well too. Reverse their genetic weaknesses, clean their lymphatic systems. You got 3 children, think of them as well, but yourself as well. So I get that. And so this is the way you get rid of these. You don't want to have anything, you don't want to have a thyroidectomy, you don't want to play those kind of dangerous games. You don't even have enough nodules, they don't even see a nodule yet. So I wouldn't get... It's just pre-telling you your lymph system's backed up with the lymph nodes like that. So do not freak out, dear one. I am only 39 and I know they're going to try to pressure me into surgery, chemo, and radiation if it is cancer. But how strong are you? You know, all you guys, you never let somebody pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. You stand tall with who you are. Some of you are raised in families that probably didn't make you feel that strong, that took your power away. A lot of fathers can do that to their children. But I'm here to tell you to gain your power back, because your papa is the papa, the big papa, the all. So you don't have to answer to anyone but the all. So get your power back and find your journey and enjoy your journey. Have some fun. You're here on the planet. Wake up, have some fun. Don't get too serious about it, because if you take this rock too seriously, it'll destroy you. Believe in nature and natural healing. Well, it's not about believing in nature and natural healing. I mean, it's good to believe in something. It's far better to know something. Beliefs are worth a dime a dozen. But to know something means you've experienced it. You already know what you're going to experience telepathically. But I'm not sure you know the tremendous levels of health and well-being you can experience the proper way. See, that's a pseudoscience. That uses made-up belief systems and theories that don't even fit in science, and made-up concept of diseases that's not curable. And you're willing to let that scare you over the people that know exactly what the problem is and how to fix it for you. See? The power of just going vegan and gluten-free has gotten rid of my eyes. See? Now listen. And look at the things this young girl or lady has already involved. So we can understand now why this is involved. Get this. Get this. Her vegan, gluten-free, has already gotten rid of her IBS, fibromyalgia, eczema, hormonal imbalance, it's like it's an ovarian cyst. It's like having a frequent cysts. It's like frequent ovarian cyst syndrome. Depression, which is right here, parathyroid. You just said it, honey. Parathyroid's involved. You got to watch your kids. And then your adrenals, the anxiety. You've had all these problems, and you're scared of a few, not even barely seen, swollen lymph nodes. No. Your lymph has been down in your body. That's why the fibromyalgia, honey. That's why the bowel problems and the IBS. This is all tied to one system here, the lymphatic system. Suggest you get into it. And I would work on my parathyroid, probably your pituitary as well. You didn't mention if you had any insomnia. The anxiety tells you immediately, but that's all goes with the fibromyalgia and the eczema. How? Lymphatics. Lymphatics. So I know the healing power of food. I hope so. How far can you take it? That's a challenge I'm offering you. How far can you take this? What power can you get in an all-fruit diet? I am also an Ashtanga yoga practitioner, and I know the healing power of breath, prana, and God. Good. That's my favorite side. Running across you was like a godsend, I think, honey. I don't have a whole lot of money, but I am desperate for help. Well, you don't need a whole lot of money. You're talking to God people here, so money isn't what we talk about here. And if you follow this for years, you would know that we're God people. You're welcome, sweetheart. I appreciate you writing this. I then sent an addendum to the message as follows. My apologies for sending 2 different emails. After watching more of your videos, I thought that it would be valuable information to know that I spent about 8 years as a drug addict. Wow. And I've done a lot of damage to my body, mostly with methamphetamines, cocaine, and tobacco. She says, I have been sober now for, it will be 11 years this year. You know, it doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter what the path you chose to come through. It is vital for your awareness and your growth to come through the patterns that each of you come through. I don't criticize anybody from going through anything. We only make things negative because we put them in that classification. That's just man's point of view at this level, as dualistic. But in reality, we all come from the same thing, and we're all seeking some way to be happy in this very cold, cold place. in all levels. So what if you smoke a little pot? So what if you did a mushroom? So what if you did this or you did that? You know what? You find, I am against anything that's chemical, no question. Anything that's man-made, I'm against. Anything nature-made, maybe nature put that there to help you. But you have to realize that you're the conscious being, and you can't take anything to become conscious. You're already conscious. That your mind and emotions is what's blocking you from knowing that. And once you understand that and awake to that, you don't need anything to help you become conscious. Marijuana is good to relax, no question about it. It depends how you administer it. So there's some good plants out there to help you relax. I know the natives like the peyote, good for out-of-body traveling and stuff. But once you learn how to do it naturally, you don't need to use nature in that way. Mushrooms, very good to quiet the mind and get in the now, very hard on the physical body. But some people have a hard time understanding those that use those during my particular time of growth in the 1950s and 60s. But there was a huge renaissance of consciousness growth. The Beatles breaking all, Elvis kind of softened it for them, but they came and just ripped it apart. And these are thought forms. The rock and roll broke a lot of these rigid, antiquated thought forms, and still does today. But now we got to bring music more into harmony. Disharmony music, disjointed like grunge, can leave you confused, because music is used to create or to uncreate. Look how I was laughing at that one, because I was in the Air Force, so laughing at with Noriega, how we got him out of the church. That was funny. I'm wondering if this has something to do with the problems I'm developing. Honey, this is all lymphatic. Everything you're talking about here is lymphatic. Don't try to pull it too much, make something out of it that it's not. I say that. We have systems down in the human body for the nature of man's diet. Understanding man as an island, a frugivore, and looking at current diets around the world, do you get the point? And then when you understand there's either acid ash diets or alkaline ash diets, and man is predominantly living on the acid ash diets, then you pretty much understand what he's up against. That's why he lost his electrolytes, his calciums, and everything else. So you can turn I want you to understand, Jessica, you can turn all these things around. Nothing is permanent except you. Nothing in creation is permanent except you. Also worth nothing, I have complete PTSD due to childhood trauma and trauma. But you sound like you got a pretty good head on your shoulders there, so to speak. But you know what? Use that trauma and crap of childhood and all whatever happened to you or anyone, and turn it around and know that that's the things that made you strong, and you will be strong in yourself. Spend time alone and say, you know what? I don't need anybody. I have myself. I'm here alone anyway. And then become a giver, because now you're learning the truth that you are the living truth. Jesus said it many times, you are the living truth. But what part of you is the living truth? Is it your mind that you're using temporarily while you're here? Is it your emotions? Is that the living truth? Is it your physical body? Is that the living truth? Or is it something you can't see? And that's something you already are. I know that my adrenals have been, you think so, bad shape, because they've always been in a fight or flight state. I can see that, sweetheart. All I can say is treat yourself royally. If you don't have a man to treat yourself royally, you treat yourself royally. You deserve it. If you're a lady, you got 3 children, you've done well. So you treat yourself and your children royally. If you have a husband, tell him to buy you some flowers. Make sure he brings you flowers once a week or once every 2 weeks. And, get into the happy side of things. Make it so. Don't be a leaf blowing in the wind, yoga lady. You be the living truth. You don't look to the living truth. You be the living truth. You be the yoga. Okay? You be the Buddha. All right. I took up Ashtanga yoga. I'm not sure what that type of yoga is. For me, Shabda yoga would be the one you would want to look to in terms if you're looking for the light and sound. If you're looking at pure consciousness and to get out of creation finally, Shabda yoga is the only yoga system I know that can offer you that. I don't know where the Singh family is yet, and now I don't know where that is. It's the Radhaswami Shabda yoga. You know, when you're talking about the prana, you're talking about the life force, you're talking about light and sound. You're not talking about the light of God. You're talking about the light and sound of God, the twin aspects of God. It sings while it dances. I took up this yoga practice and went vegan to deal with my post-traumatic stress syndrome and have been off of antidepressant. But remember also parathyroid in you, sweetheart. Medications for about 5 years now. See, you have that power in you. I hear it. I hear that you coming out going, I don't care what they throw at me. I'm going to overcome that. I feel that in you. You're saying that. One side you're saying, I'm weak, and the other side you're saying, but I overpowered it. That's the kind of lady that I see here. Thank you so much for your time and what you do. You're really on the level. It's beautiful. Oh, thanks, honey. Much love to you. Much love to you, Jessica. I know that is a lot of information on my financial situation. Don't worry about it. If you need help, we have help for you, okay? And we do have some financial aid for some of you guys. You just have to talk to Jen. Jennifer handles it. She's on a 6-day grape fast. That's what we're talking about here. All right. Okay. Now, as you can see, my ultrasound results, I don't see them here. They give them to me on notes, have characteristics of malignancy. Who cares? That just means your cells are being chewed up. Stop the chew. The body will rebuild. Stop the chew. That's your biggest problem. Stop the chew. Doesn't matter if it's already chewed. We get it. Stop the chew. That's all you got to do. The cells have been damaged, they'll be dealt with. But stop the chew. The chew is acids. Acids chew. Corrosive. And that's your lymphatic system. You know? And I am also experiencing symptoms such as fatigue and extreme weight loss. Honey, you already mentioned over here, don't freak out. You have a whole system down. What did you tell us you had? IBS? What other word would you associate with IBS? Malabsorption. I guarantee you have malabsorption. How much? That's what your eyes will tell you. But, you know, honey, you pull back from this and realize what the lymphatic system is all through you, side to side. When that's down, you're involved all through your side to side. You're one side. Whatever's genetically weak, that's what gets it first. That weakness is already lymphatically compromised. So, you know, so you have to stop. You don't have to treat what you see because that's the effect. You want to focus on the cause of that and deal with that. You don't want to treat the lymph nodes and treat the effect. That kills people. That puts you in harm's way with 3 kids. So don't let them freak you out. Learn that you want to pull back. You're a yoga lady. You want to pull back to the cause of things. You want to be the cause. You don't want to seek God because the seeker of God never finds God, my dear one. You're seeking that which always eludes you because you're seeking outside of yourself that which you already are. It's that simple. However, you can't let fear take you off of that point and your peace. Because that's fear. That's the negative forces that do that. You simply have to understand what's up. And that's why we're introducing it to this. It's time on this planet that humans get this. And when you simply understand the lymphatic system and what it takes to get that filtering and going, you got it. Now it's just time and how deep can you dig in your journey in getting your body well. And then go on into the spiritual side deeper and deeper. But all of these are symptoms coming out of one system that's down. And if you look at these things as separate problems, you'll drive yourself crazy and you'll treat yourself till you're depressed and perhaps then kill you because of chemos and things like that, which is only for those that are unconscious. You know, surgery's one thing, and I'll agree with a good surgeon any day of the week. And you'll see me siding with the emergency medicine too. Those are my two loves, is surgery and emergency medicine, given proper experienced docs. But this concept of treating diseases and crap like that only leads to nothing but despair, unhappiness, pain, you name it. So you want to become the yoga itself. You want to become the power, the light, the sound itself, because that's what you already are. You're only allowed, it's enough to say, honey, is it? That weight loss, don't tie that to, I'm going down, my health is going, see that crap, you're already out of it. That was your IBS, you're already malabsorbed. Don't tie too much to this where I'm going down, and you're on a 6-day grape fast, and you're on raw foods. So yeah, you're going to lose weight. You could get a skinny bean because you were malabsorbed. Okay. But as soon as you get that out and fix it, all this is fixed up and cleaned up, you'll put your weight back and you'll be a warrior woman. And you'll be helping your kids. And then you'll be here doing what you're here for. And you know what I'm talking about. Okay, she's on a 6-day grape fast, and I am doing lemon. Smart. Lemon myrtle detox. I don't know what that tea from Kroger. Oh. I knew Hannah. Because that's all, but nice old lady. That was all I can afford right now. Listen. Listen, honey. You, let me make a note on here, okay? But you get a hold of Jen B, and she will hook you up with ways to get a little bit of herbs to you. All right? She might already be giving it to you because Jen B handed me this to talk about. So you could be already communicating with her. She's pretty good. She's really good. My husband works at a car wash. We have 3 children that live with us, and he also has a daughter that lives in Washington, which he also provides support for. We are currently below the federal poverty. I'll help, honey. But I only want to help if you'll do it. Okay? So let's see if we can get all this taken care of and get you down the road here. Because and don't have fear. And move yourself from the weak side to the strong side, the side of power and strength and awareness and consciousness. But it's also the side of divine love and joy and happiness too. I've got to go get a pump. One of my pumps burned out, so I have to go early. But I'll be in this week off and on. I'm still cleaning up messes. But I'll be in and do another video. At least one more this week, I hope. But I am so behind on all your protocols and stuff, guys. I'm so sorry, but hasn't been good.
Give me a Y, give me an E, give me an F. Yeah!
Yeah, baby. But I got to go buy a pump. And so have fun on this. You know, this world is a warring planet. Anytime you can be taken, physical body can be taken off of it. You can't let any of these things bother you. You can't make your outside, even when you're a mom with your children and your husband. That's your soap opera. That's your drama, your dharma. That's your playground. That's your experiences and how you're learning and growing and how to deal with other aspects of God, other individualized expressions, and all that implies. But that isn't you. That's your journey that you're playing with. You want to awaken more to who you are within the journey of play. And you're on that path, and you keep on that path of awakening. But it is simple as stop thinking and stop desiring. As Phoebe Quant said, stop thinking and stop talking, and there's nothing you won't know. Amazing. That simple. Love ya.